Okay, cool. Everyone can see that?
Yep.
Okay, cool. So agenda for today, I'm going to go through the presentation, just going over how to petition, and then I'm going to pass it over to Isabel. She will answer any questions at the end, or if you have any questions throughout, you can add them in the chat, and Isabel can just interrupt me and answer them, because I can't see the chat while I'm presenting, unfortunately. And then after that, Isabel's also going to go over next steps and where you guys can take action and start petitioning as soon as possible. So yay. Okay. So this is volunteer training for obviously the Arizona for Abortion Access Act. And what is it? It is a citizen-initiated ballot measure that would amend the state constitution to include the freedom for a person to make their own decision on abortion. And why? I'm sure you all are aware, but last year, Arizonans lost their rights. The right to abortion is at risk in Arizona, and it always has been. But in the wake of the U.S. Supreme Court overturning Roe v. Wade, the Arizona Supreme Court decided to consider a case that would impose a near total ban on abortion across the state, with no exceptions for rape or incest. The ban is over 100 years old and could be reinstated in full. Obviously, if that happens, millions of Arizonans would lose access to legal abortion in the state and would be forced to leave the state to get care. But because of a recent lower court decision currently right now in Arizona, we have access to abortion up to 15 weeks of pregnancy. But even still, we have over 40 restrictions on the books that create significant barriers for people to access abortion. And obviously, we want access to abortion. So majority of Arizonans support the right for people to make their own decisions about healthcare, including abortion. And in recent polling, 9 in 10 Arizonans reported that they want the freedom to decide how and when to start a family free of government interference. So most Arizonans agree the government shouldn't be involved in personal decisions, better left to patients and their doctors, and we deserve the freedom to make our own decisions about pregnancy and abortion. And these are deeply personal decisions that should be treated with compassion, dignity, and privacy, and no political interference. And we need to show each other empathy. There's many reasons why people decide to have an abortion, and no matter how personally you feel about abortion, every person should be able to make their own decisions with their healthcare provider and those they love and trust. So that is the whole point of the ballot initiative, is to let the people decide. So it comes down to trust. The ballot measure is about trusting patients, not government or politicians, to make their own decisions around pregnancy, miscarriage, and abortion-related care. It establishes the freedom for patients experiencing pregnancy complications or miscarriages to get the care they need without delays or restrictions that risk their health, fertility, and lives. So now that we got all that background, what exactly does the Arizona for Abortion Access do? Number one, it guarantees the right to an abortion up until fetal viability. And then number two, it requires abortions to be permitted afterward when necessary to protect the life or physical or mental health of the patient. So if someone is not guaranteed right to abortion before the fetal viability, they are able to get access to abortion afterwards if they need to protect the life, physical, or mental health of the patient. And so you want to help. That's why you guys are all here. So we're going to go over now gathering signatures. So first, just like do's, don'ts, and tips, and then we'll get into the more specifics of how to actually collect petitions. But first, you have to keep control over your petition and witness every single signature while someone is signing. You have to use black or blue ink pen. You can never use pencil. And you have to check the volunteer box at the top right of the petition. This is very important. We'll actually have a visual in a few slides so you know what we're talking about. And then we have to make sure signers are registered voters of the state. Make sure they use their complete voter registration address. Make sure all the signatures are legible. And make sure they sign their complete legal name. You can't use any initials. And then follow the law and all the campaign policies. Now, don'ts. Don't leave the petitions unattended. So you can't like leave it out of business and just be like, oh, have everyone who comes in sign this. I'm going to go do something. You have to watch every single signature. Also, don't let anyone else circulate or hold the petition unless you are witnessing them sign. So you can't give it to your friend to take around to their class, or you can't give it to your mom to take to work. You have to witness all the signatures. And then don't have people from different counties sign the same page. We'll go over that more. And don't write on the petition other than the top sheet / make any marks or tallies on the petition. Don't allow signers to use ditto marks. You cannot erase or correct a line, even if it is an error. That would be up to the person who is signing to fix that. Don't allow anyone to fill in any information for anyone else, including spouses. You'll probably come into that a lot. Even if people live at the same address, live together, spouses, they cannot sign for each other. They have to write out everything for themselves individually. Don't allow someone to sign a petition if they think or know they have already signed the petition. This is a really good point. If someone thinks they have signed it, don't let them sign it again, because then both of their signatures are invalidated. So if they think they have signed it, don't let them sign it again. Don't give anyone anything in exchange for signing. Obviously, you cannot bribe people to sign a petition. That is fraud. We don't want to do that. Don't argue with a voter. You're here to get signatures from people who support our cause. Don't waste time trying to argue with people, and just focus on all the signatures you can get in that amount of time. Don't speak to the media or press, and don't lie or mislead anyone, and don't answer questions you do not know. Okay, and now some tips. Be aware of your appearance. Look at people like you know them. Be warm and inviting. Ask everyone to sign. Smile and make eye contact from 10 feet away. Walk towards the person. Start your greeting as you are walking. Get the clipboard in their hands. People are more likely to sign if they are actually holding the clipboard, so try to actually give it to them. If the person continues to walk, walk with them. Walk the signer through the entire form. And don't take back the clipboard until the form is complete, and spend no more than 1 minute with each person. Okay, now that was like just the bullet points. We'll go more in depth so you guys know what I'm talking about. So getting started. So first, you're going to want to pick a location that you can find a larger groups of people. It can be civic, faith-based, progressive group meetings, college classes, wherever you want, basically. And make sure you have all the materials you need, which is petitions, clipboard, pen with blue or black ink, and anything you need to protect yourself from outdoors. We will go through at the end how to check out petitions and where we'll get all of that material to you. And then you're going to make the ask. And the most important part about site-based petitioning is getting people to stop. So like we said, make sure you're asking everyone. Cool. And then now how you're going to greet people. Here's a few options. Are you a registered voter in Arizona? That one's one of my favorites, because a lot of time when you ask that, people will think you're trying to get them registered to vote, and they will just say yes and blow you off. But then you say, yes, okay, cool. Do you want to sign this to secure access to abortion in Arizona? So that's a good one to make sure also that they are registered to vote in Arizona, so you can skip that process later. And then another option is to sign to keep politicians out of healthcare decisions, sign to restore Arizonans' right to abortion. And then, sorry, I have to move this thing. And then if they say no, you can thank them for their time and just move on to the next person, because you can't collect 1,000 signatures without receiving a few no's. Just keep moving on to get everyone else. And if they say yes, don't freak out. You actually still have to get them to sign the petition. So follow up. Here's a little blurb that you can use. I'm working with Arizona for abortion access because Arizonans want the freedom to make their own decisions about abortion and pregnancy with their healthcare providers, not politicians. Will you sign our petition to restore Arizonans' freedom to access abortion? Also, on the top of every petition, it does have a little blurb on the top explaining the petition, so people can also read that if they want more in-depth explanation. If anyone says no, then just thank you for your time. We're not there to argue. And then if yes, great. What county are you registered to vote in? And now it's time to sign. So get out the correct sheet or create a new one for their county. So this is what the top of a petition looks like. And at the top of the petition, you're always going to check the volunteer box. You will not check paid circulator. You are not a paid circulator. Also, that is a whole separate process. So just always make sure that you are checking volunteer. And then you will write the county that you're collecting for. This example is Pinal, but most of us are probably going to be doing Maricopa. That's like Phoenix, Tempe, Mesa, Chandler. But if anyone comes up to you and says, oh, I'm not in Maricopa, you can start a new sheet with their county to make sure that you can get their signature as well. And then remember, signers must be registered to vote in Arizona. All signers on one signature sheet must be from that same county, and signers must fill in all the information themselves. Even if they live in the same space, they cannot fill out the address for someone else. Okay, now this is a little example of a petition. I just got all of these, and we're going to go through and look at what was done incorrectly / what to fix. So for the first person, they made a mistake. They accidentally wrote the wrong number for their house. They crossed it out and initialed it and then restarted. That is fine. They did that right. That is going to count. If anybody crosses anything out, they have to initial it so they know that they were the ones that crossed it out. You are not able to, as the person holding the petition. Also, if it turns into like a huge mistake, they can just cross the whole thing out and start on a new line. For the next one, for John, they added the apartment number, so that is a full address. That's great. That one counts. Looks perfect. And then for the next one, it looks like Natalia is actually located in Tempe, which is not in Pinal County, so that would not count on this petition. You would have had to make a new petition specifically for Maricopa, in which Natalia could have signed. And then looks like Charles, number 4, no street number. We don't know where they are. It just says Florence Boulevard. You're going to make sure that it is the full address. And then number 5, for Lex, used a P.O. box. Can't use a P.O. box. It has to be their actual voter registration address. Bruce, looking good. Benjamin, looks like they use ditto marks. Cannot use ditto marks. You have to actually fill out all of the information, even though they have the same address as Bruce. Pepper looks great. Steven, the second to the last one, looks like they are located in Denver, so they are not in Arizona, so that would not count. You could not have them sign the petition. And then the very last one, Selena has a little scribble on the outside. No outside marks of where they're supposed to fill out the petition would count, so that one would not count. Also, everyone has to stay in the lines of each row. We do have some like guides that we have available to help make sure that everyone stays in the row, but we honestly don't have a lot of those. So you kind of have to make sure that people are staying in the lines. And if for any reason, if they do sign into the box below, you would just skip that row and start on the next one so that their signature isn't interfering with the next signers. Okay, is there any questions on this before I move on? Because I know it's a lot of info. Got any questions, Isabel, in there?
Just some comments about the nerdy names and the folks from the DC comics. Shout out Lex Luthor and Bruce Wayne.
See, that's why I don't read the full names anymore. I'm just first names. Okay, cool. Perfect. So they signed. Great job. And now you got a bunch of signatures. What's next? Most important part. You have to take your sheets to the notary. None of those signatures count if you don't actually get them notarized and turn them in. So where is a notary? You can call a Healthcare Rising Arizona at this phone number to find one near you, or also you can visit any bank, but make sure that where you are visiting at the bank that it is free. Some notaries charge, and we don't compensate for anybody who charges for getting stuff notarized, so make sure that you are going to somewhere where it is free. Also, Isabel will plug later at the end, but we also have a notary every other Friday at Brick Road Coffee in Tempe, and you can drop by then and get notarized, and we will be there as well. Perfect. And now, so the back side of the petition where people sign is where you would fill out the information with the notary. I will say that personally, I just do not fill out this at all until I'm there with the notary. They will tell you where to sign and how to do it so that you don't mess it up. Because if you sign in the wrong area, it invalidates that whole petition, and you would have to throw it away and start over and try and re-find those people, which is just, we don't want to do that. So this is telling you where you can sign, but I would just leave it blank until you actually are with a notary and they'll walk you through it. But for now, just so you are aware, the green area is where you can fill out. So just your name, the county, but then you have to sign in front of the notary. If you sign before you are there with them, it does not count. They have to watch you sign the petition, so that's why I would just wait until they're present. And then in the red boxes, that's only for the notary. You cannot write any scribble marks or anything. It will invalidate the petition. So that's why this part is kind of scary. So I just recommended waiting until you're there. So perfect. Like I said, in front of the notary, it's okay to fill out the green section prior. 2, you have to make sure that you have a physical ID, so they will ask for that. And then number 3, don't fill out the top, the red area. That's for the notary, and don't fill below the line of the stamped notary seal with the box below. Oh, sorry. All of these red areas you can't fill out. Perfect. So now we're just going to go into when you are petitioning and sometimes you have interactions with anti-choicers or just suspicious behavior and how to navigate that because you are representing an organization. So how navigating non-engagement and suspicious encounters and why it matters. We cannot risk losing our reputation, support, and trust. Remember that you are representing Arizona for Abortion Access and Planned Parenthood. So we're just going to go over how to interact if you have those situations. So in the field, do's and don'ts. So do's, tell your volunteer lead if you see activity you believe is illegal or unsafe. Let your volunteer lead know right away if you have any kind of encounter with a known or suspected anti-abortion protester. Don'ts, do not argue, yell at, or otherwise engage anti-abortion protesters. If approached, simply walk away. I know we are all very passionate about abortion, but you don't need to waste your time arguing or yelling with people. They're obviously firm in their beliefs and you are firm in yours. We don't want to waste that time. We're trying to get signatures and get abortion rights in Arizona, so we want to talk to the people who do support us. And then obviously don't initiate any physical contact with anti-abortion protesters at any time. And if approached, just walk away. And then a note on media. Do not speak to the media or give your or another signature gatherer's name to the media. Direct all media inquiries to press@ArizonaForAbortionAccess.org. And then suspicious encounters, so questions to consider. Just if you don't have someone who's being like obviously an anti-abortion protester and they just have some unusual requests, this is kind of questions to keep an eye out for or an ear out for. Is this an unusual request? Is the person extremely insistent to the point of conveying a sense of urgency? Example of this would be trying to like argue or learn more about fetal viability and continuously asking you questions concerning that, or just the campaign separate from just signing the petition. Does the conversation sound scripted? Is the person using language that strikes you as odd? Is the person trying to get info about another person or inside details about the campaign? And does the person avoid providing a name and contact information? So just if it's a weird situation that's making you uncomfortable, that they obviously have a different motive than just wanting to know what they're signing. And then what to say. If you don't know the answer or suspect a leading question, just say that Arizona for Abortion Access is designed to protect and expand abortion access in our state. If you want to learn more, visit our campaign. Also, just don't answer any questions you don't know the answer to. It is fine and it is completely valid to say that you don't know and give them resources for Arizona for Abortion Access or Planned Parenthood. We just don't want to give any misleading information or accidentally lie or just give false information about the campaign and what we're trying to do. So it's okay to say, I don't know. And then obviously if someone is making you uncomfortable, you can end the conversation and leave. Just say thank you for your time. You don't have to use this like robotic answer. I'm going to bring this conversation to a close and walk away now. You can just say thank you and hope you have a good day and move on. And I believe, yes, that is the last slide. So we will open it up for questions and then I will stop sharing this and Isabel will go over the form on how to actually check out petitions through Planned Parenthood.
Fantastic. Alrighty, any questions that you all have about petitioning, circulating? We have a question from Sarah in the chat. Will it be a problem that my permanent address is in SF? If you are registered to vote in Arizona, you can circulate it. You would need to transfer all of your information over to be an Arizona resident. But if you are not registered to vote in the state of Arizona and you want to help contribute to this campaign and also circulate the petition, you would have to go through Healthcare Risings and the Secretary of State to obtain a circulator ID, which is a whole nother process that Planned Parenthood Arizona doesn't really do. So if you want to help out with the campaign, you can go that route and reach out to Healthcare Rising, or you can volunteer with Planned Parenthood on the different opportunities that we have by not circulating. Emma, we have a hand raised.
Question, is there any time constraint on the signatures? Like if I get 10 signatures in January and then 5 in July, can that all be notarized at one point?
Technically you can, but we are urging people to not hold on to a petition for no longer than 2 weeks, just so that way we don't have to worry about any of that scrutiny, because it's kind of like, why are you holding on to the petition for 5 months and you didn't turn it in on time? In that case, I would just turn it in even empty, get it notarized, and then drop it off either at Brick Road or in Healthcare Rising. But I wouldn't want to wait too much time in between dates when the first signature that you've had was in January and the next one was in July.
Thank you.
Any more questions in the chat? Feel free to come off of mute. Feel free to raise your hand, drop it in the chat. If not, I'm going to start sharing my screen to talk about what the heck are we going to do next? So if you now want to check out petitions, fantastic. Well, we, Planned Parenthood, are now partnering with Brick Road Coffee, which is a coffee shop in Tempe, where you can go in person to pick up your petitions. So as you are walking into Brick Road after you get your coffee, you are going to sign the QR code to check out a petition. And the QR code is going to take you to our link tree. So step 1, we have it nice and easy for you to be able to follow along, is the petition checkout form that we are asking our folks over with Planned Parenthood to check out a petition. So I'm going to show you what the form looks like. So it's very basic. You fill out your information, your first, your last, your email, all of that good stuff, just so that we're able to track where the petition is. So in the additional information, we're going to ask that you put in the petition serial number once you get it from the barista. And you are also going to attest that you have never been convicted of any felonies that would prevent you from collecting signatures. That is one of the requirements for you to be a petition circulator. So you need to certify that you have not done any of that. And then once you submit this, we will have you move on to step 2. So that is the petition checkout form. Step 2 would be the volunteer circulator consent to background check. This is basically saying that you have not been convicted of any felonies that would prevent you from having any signatures that you've collected not be counted. This Google form is not managed by Planned Parenthood Arizona. It is actually managed by Arizona for Abortion Access. And again, it is just asking you for your basic information: first name, last name, email, address, the date that you've completed your training. So you would put today, 1/24/24. And then again, you would attest that you have not been convicted of any felonies. And then here is the option for if you would like to get involved with the campaign that doesn't involve signature collecting. So if you have a felony or if you're not a registered voter, and you can click yes on this and the campaign will follow up with you on that. But this Google form, you only have to submit one time. You don't have to do this every single time you want to check out a form. Once you do it once, you are good to go. So that is that on step 2. Step 3 would be reviewing the training packet. So say you are doing this training and you don't know how to get your petition notarized, but you don't remember what we went over in the training. This will open up a PDF version of everything that we have gone over in today's training. It will go over the do's and don'ts, where you can find a notary, all of that good stuff in a nice, cute little PDF form. So that will be there for your access. You can print it out. You can have it on your phone. You can do whatever you want with it, but that is for your resource if you need some additional review on the training. So that is step 3. Step 4 would be signing up for the next training or event. So say you want to start circulating some petitions with Planned Parenthood, you want to join us at our events that we're having, that would be going on to step 4, which will lead you to our upcoming events page. So as you can see here, we have the ballot initiative training that was tonight, and we're also having a general volunteer orientation next week. That will be a combination of virtual hybrid. If you want to get involved with Planned Parenthood's volunteer program that are outside of petition circulating, I would highly recommend you all want to go to the orientation. We will just have to have a one-on-one with you and follow up with additional information and paperwork. But this is where we will usually have the links to our different events that we have going on. You can see that we were at the Women's March this past Saturday, and we were also at Brick Road Coffee doing a petition hub launch. So all of the events that we will have with Planned Parenthood Arizona will be in this section. Going back to the link tree, say you are in Payson, middle of nowhere, Apache Junction, you want to find a resource to be able to sign the petition that is not with Planned Parenthood. You can click the next link, which will take you to the Mobilize that is with Healthcare Rising, and you can find different places where you can just go in and sign the petition. Again, this isn't with Planned Parenthood Arizona, you would just be going to sign the petition, but this is just another resource for you if you are in another area where it is not nearby a Planned Parenthood hub. So that is just there for your access. We have the link tree available for you all to access all of these resources. Again, if y'all have any questions, feel free to come off mute, throw it in the chat. But following that, we actually are going to plug that we have an event going on this weekend that we could use some volunteers at. So we are going to be having a former donor having an event this Saturday. I believe Emma can touch in a little bit more on this, but we're looking to have somebody who has been trained to circulate the petitions be there and collect those signatures. So if you are able to attend that event this Saturday, we would love to have you. But other than that, other resources that we have with Planned Parenthood that are coming up is petition circulating at Brick Road, which is going to be this slide that we have here. We are going to be having folks fill out this sign up genius. As you can see, we've had Lexi and Guillermo sign up for this Friday, but we are also looking for somebody to sign up for the 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. slot. So I'm going to go ahead and actually drop this in the chat for you all. What was that?
I'm going to interrupt you real quick
Go ahead.
to answer a question in the chat. So you can check out petitions anytime at Brick Road. So you can check them out at any time. Everything that Isabel just showed, the QR code is always there. So you can check out petitions at any time, but the notary is only going to be there on Fridays from 10 to 2 every other Friday. So they will be here starting this Friday and then every other Friday after that. But you can check out at any time.
And then to touch on the QR code, you don't have to go to Brick Road. It's literally just our link tree that's in our Planned Parenthood Instagram. I've also dropped it in the chat for you all. But you can't fill out the form to check one out until you go to either Brick Road or you meet with us at an event for us to be able to check out a petition for you. So I just threw that in the chat for your awareness. But again, we are trying to encourage people to go to the hub to be able to pick up the petitions. Where can I pick up petitions in Flagstaff or Tucson? Again, this is a process that can be done through the Mobilize that is in the link tree that I had shared. That will have more resources for you if you are not in the Phoenix metro area, which is primarily where Planned Parenthood is. Planned Parenthood Arizona is also working on trying to get a hub established in Flagstaff as well as Tucson, but we haven't done that yet. We're still moving pieces to be able to make that happen. But for now, I recommend you going into that Mobilize link and finding one that is nearby you. Any other questions?
For notarizing, it doesn't have to be notarized in the county that it's for, correct? Okay.
No.
They can notarize Maricopa in Tucson. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
That is a good question. All right, who's ready to collect some signatures? Who's ready to go to Brick Road? Who's ready to go do the damn thing? If there are no more questions in the chat, that's really it for this training. We're actually ending pretty early. I'm surprised that we don't really have that many questions. We have somebody typing in the chat, but yeah, if you need anything else from us, you can reach out to us at the advocates@ppaz.org. If you have any questions, you can DM us on Instagram. There are so many different ways for you to get in communication with us. So that is our training. I will let the person in the chat finish typing up before we log off. Thank you. Thank you. I think. Okay, I think that's it for us. You all have a great rest of your evening.
Thank you.